All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about a technology that lets you communicate when pretty much everything else fails. I'm talking no internet, no cell service. It's all built on the BitChat protocol, and honestly, it could fundamentally change how we all connect. I mean, that sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? Sending a message into the void and having it just arrive? But it's totally possible. And the answer is in this really clever and resilient design called the BitChat protocol. So let's break down exactly how it pulls this off. Okay, so to really get why something like BitChat is such a game changer, we first need to look at a huge weakness, a fundamental flaw really, in the systems we all rely on every single day. You see, pretty much every message, every photo, every call we make, it doesn't just go straight from our phone to our friend's phone. No, it takes a detour through a central point, this kind of digital middleman. And these middlemen, they're servers owned by big companies. And yeah, it's efficient for the most part, but it also creates this massive single point of failure. It makes the whole system vulnerable to outages, to censorship, to surveillance, you name it.
And that's the real question, isn't it? This is the exact problem BitChat was engineered to solve. I mean, think about it. A natural disaster knocks out all the cell towers, or maybe there are protests and the internet gets restricted. In those moments, our main way of talking to each other just vanishes.
So what's the solution? Well, the most straightforward way is to just get rid of that central server entirely. And that is where the real magic of peer-to-peer networking comes into play. It creates a completely different way for our devices to talk to each other.
So in a P2P network, your phone is literally talking directly to other phones around it, using stuff like Bluetooth. They all link up and create this resilient, self-healing web of connections. You don't need any outside help, no big company infrastructure at all.
And this is how it's all put together. Think of it like a stack of layers, one on top of the other. It starts with the app you actually see and use at the very top. Then, each layer below handles a specific job, figuring out how to route the message, keeping it secure, and then finally actually sending it over the airwaves with Bluetooth. Super logical.
Okay, this is the really big question. If there are no servers keeping track of everyone, how did two phones just meet for the first time, trust each other, and start a secure conversation out of thin air?
Well, first off, you gotta forget about usernames that a company can just delete or that can get stolen. With BitChat, your identity is this unique cryptographic fingerprint. It's generated from a key that lives only on your device. Nobody gives it to you, and nobody can ever take it away. It's yours. You truly completely own it.
So to make that secure connection happen, BitChat uses this incredibly powerful framework called the noise protocol. Now, I know that long string of text on the slide looks super intimidating, right? But just think of it as a very specific, battle-tested recipe. It's a combination of the best crypto tools out there to guarantee your conversation is both private and authentic. So this first hello is what's called a three-step handshake. It's like a little digital dance. Two devices that have never met before can introduce themselves, prove they are who they say they are, and then agree on a secret code for their conversation. And the best part? No server is watching them do it.
Okay, so now we have two devices that trust each other. Awesome. But what happens when the person you're trying to message isn't standing right next to you? How does that message get there? Let's follow its journey.
Right, so if your friend isn't in direct Bluetooth range, your message needs to travel. And BitChat does this using what's called a gossip protocol. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Your phone passes the message to a nearby phone, which passes it to another, and so on. The message literally spreads through the network, hopping from device to device, kind of like a rumor, trying to find its destination.
But you can imagine just letting messages gossip forever would be total chaos. So to keep things from just bouncing around the network endlessly, the protocol has two really clever tricks. First, every message has a time to live, or TTL. Think of it like a countdown. And second, each phone uses this smart, super efficient tool called the Bloom filter to remember which messages it's already seen, so it doesn't pass on the same rumor twice. So every single message gets wrapped up into what's called a packet. And this packet is more than just your encrypted message. It's also got all the instructions for its journey, like that TTL countdown timer, and of course who it's supposed to go to.
And what's really cool is that the protocol can handle two kinds of messages. A private message is like a sealed letter addressed to one person. Other phones will help pass it along, but because of that super strong encryption from the handshake, they can't read what's inside. A broadcast message, on the other hand, is like shouting in a crowded room. It's meant for everyone, and anyone who receives it can read it.
Okay,
We've gone through the identity part, the secret handshake, and the wild journey of a message. So, let's step back. What's the big picture here? Why does any of this really matter?
Well, it all adds up to a way of communicating that is just fundamentally different. It's censorship-resistant because there's no single button anyone can push to shut it down. It's resilient because it doesn't even need the internet. It's incredibly private, thanks to something called forward secrecy, which, by the way, means even if someone somehow steals your main key, they still can't read your old chats. And most importantly, you are in complete control.
And that's what's so exciting. This technology opens up this huge, fascinating question that goes way beyond just sending messages. It makes you really think, if our messages don't need a central server, what else in our digital lives doesn't? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Until next time, stay curious.